January 3rd, 1983 saw NBC get back into game shows in a really big way since canceling Password Plus, Battlestars, and Blockbusters in the spring of 1982. Three new shows would debut and help get NBC back into the game. The biggest success by far out of the three would be Sale of the Century, which lasted to March of 1989 before being canceled alongside Super Password. The other two would be canceled after 13 weeks and replaced with other shows. We'll talk about both of them, one now and one later, but the one we're going to talk about now is responsible for launching the game show career of one Peter Tomarken. I give you Hitman.
1/2 hour from now, you'll know enough about dancing great Gene Kelly and Vice Presidents of the United States to win $10,000 in cash if you were a contestant on Hitman!
Hitman was a very inventive show. Starring Peter Tomarken in his first MC role, contestants were shown slideshow stories and had to answer questions based on what they just saw. The contestant with the best recall and quickest buzzer would win the right to go for the Triple Crown and win $10,000. There have been a few shows around this time that tested recall powers, namely I Guess and Concentration, but none of them ever did it with video and audio together, stuff that you would normally see on Biography Channel. So in a way, something that's fresh and innovative should be applauded. But why did it only last the original 13 weeks it got? Let's take a look at all the particulars, starting with Peter Tomarken.
And now, here's the host of Hitman, Peter Tomarken. Thank you, Rodney, and welcome everyone to Hitman. Again, we got another half hour of fun in store for you, and like always, we're going to become experts on two more subjects, because we're going to give you all the answers before we even get to the questions.
After hosting so many pilots, Peter Tomarken got his first hosting gig, and he looks like he'd been hosting for the longest time. In interviews, he attributes it to being himself, and that makes it easier on him. After watching those interviews, it does show. It also helps that he shows himself to be a skilled interviewer at the top and knows how to keep the game moving. All things that would be a benefit to him on his future shows, especially Press Your Luck. Another thing I want to touch on is the set and the music. It looked far ahead of other shows at this time. Flashy, futuristic, and it looked really cool. The little characters were cute and served a nice purpose of keeping score, and it was enjoyable. The theme music is one of the top 5 themes of the 80s. The full track is available on YouTube and is well worth a listen. The track played during the bonus round is very tense. It does build up the fact you're playing for life-changing amounts of money. The format, as Peter says, is divided into 2 very different rounds, as every episode has 3 challengers and 1 champion. For the first round, the champion is secluded backstage but gets to see the documentary via a monitor. The documentary is a 2-minute feature on the topic of the round. It could be anything from famous people to famous things, or, just about anything. Once the documentary is over, the 3 challengers compete in a race. Peter will ask a question based on the documentary that was just shown. The first person to buzz in gets to answer the question. If they are right, they move 1 step closer to the finish line. If they are wrong, they are frozen out of the next question. The first person to get 5 correct answers in a row, they reach the finish line and wins $300, moves on to the next round. The second person to do it gets $200 and also moves on to the next round. The format itself is pretty cool. I do like race aspects in game shows. Like, I really love the countdown round and split second. And finishing first gets the extra cash and a little bit of advantage in the next round, I believe, is perfect. However, the one major thing that drives the show down are the documentaries. All the documentaries are still set to music and Tomarken's narration. While I give him credit, the documentaries aren't really that exciting. It was like one of those slideshows you'd be forced to sit through at your friend's house while they're gushing about the time they spent in Hawaii and got to see all those sights while you're hoping they'd shut up so you could drink in peace. Granted, the show took place in 1983, so the technology wasn't really there to make the video without spending tons of money in editing. But because of it, it's just not fun to sit through. Since the hook of the show was the recall about the documentaries, it made the show drag when it didn't need to. Because of it, it made the show pretty tedious to sit through at times. Round 2 had another documentary, and the champion returns. In this round, the object of the champion is to take out all of the opponent's hitmen, while the challengers have to take out the champion's last man in order to win. Here, the champion and the challengers play one-on-one. The champion gets 7 hitmen, The winner of the first round gets 4 hitmen, while the runner-up gets 3. The champion and the challengers will play one-on-one. Peter asks a question about the documentary shown. Buzzing in with the right answer eliminates one of your opponent's hitmen. Buzzing in with the wrong answer and one of your own hitmen get knocked out. If a challenger's hitman gets knocked out, they switch places with the other contestant. So it's kind of like a 2-on-1 scenario. If the champion knocks out all of the opponent's hitmen, they win. Otherwise, the challenger who knocks out the champion's last hitman wins. I'm sorry, but after reading that, it's pretty confusing. It could have been served better by having it set up like split seconds countdown round. Well, instead of wanting to go down to 0, you force your opponents to go to 0 and eliminate them in a way instead of doing the ping pong after a wrong answer and without elimination and all the other nonsense. You know, kind of like how they do it on the BB show Impossible. Simplicity would do this round wonders like it was in the first round. Another small complaint is that the winner of this game doesn't get anything, especially since the champion doesn't make any money in the first round and could conceivably win nothing in the bonus game, making the day a total waste for them. Why not give the champion of this round $500 or something? At least make it worth their while. The champion then moves on to the Triple Crown round. Here, the recall is put to the test as they have to fill up 3 columns that range from 1 correct answer needed to 5. A correct answer adds a money man to the column, while an incorrect answer blacks out that column and they have to start over with a new column. So not only is it a matter of knowledge, it's also a matter of luck, since the contestant's back is to the board, so they don't know what they need in order to fill a column. Filling 1 column is worth $1,000, 2 is worth $2,000, and filling up 3 columns wins the jackpot of $10,000. It's a really tense bonus game and it works alright, but it is a bit of a crapshoot though for the champions. A lucky contestant could win the $10,000 by answering in 5 correct answers by selecting the columns that have 1 spot and the 2 that only need 2. An unlucky one would hit the max of 13 in 60 seconds, which is almost impossible to do. It's a fine bonus game, but honestly, it is really flawed. So, that's Hitman, and I gotta be honest. The more that I think about the show, the more I kinda don't like it. The set and the music are great, but the documentaries are a real drag to sit through. That, along with the confusing round 2, and I can totally see why the show didn't last longer than 13 weeks just on that. What also doesn't help is it was opposite the second half of The Price is Right and Love Boat reruns. So it was kind of gone in the flash, and it couldn't compete with those 2 shows. But also what that means is the companion show that launched along with it and Just Men would suffer the same fate. But that's another story for another day. Hitman has been fondly remembered for 3 things. The music, Peter Tomarken's game show host debut, and the finale where Rod Roddy said this.
If you would like to be a contestant on Hitman, forget it! And now, back to Peter Tomarken!
Thank you, Rod.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of 26 Weeks or Less. I thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment about shows you want us to cover on this channel, whether it be for 26 Weeks or Less, game show garbage. Maybe you just want me to talk about a show in general that you think would be interesting for me to talk about and review. That doesn't quite fit into game show garbage, but it lasts longer than 26 weeks. Yeah, just a little air for thought or something like that. But please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see all weekend videos a day before they go public on YouTube on Sunday, become a backer on Patreon. As you know, it's at patreon.com/GameShowGumbo. I'm Cindy Seidelman, and I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and goodbye, everyone.